Hunting people like this is ridiculously fun. And it's a way to try to give people challenges. My name is Mathieu Côté. I'm producer on Dead by Daylight here at Behavior Interactive. What makes Dead by Daylight exciting for me is that I like human nature, and that's a game that is based upon seeing it shine. It's based upon seeing people at their worst and at their best.
I think the most exciting part about this game is the fact that you are being stalked through a world by a real person. I'm Ash Panel, I'm creative director on Dead by Daylight. So one of the things we wanted to do with the game is, rather than make it a traditionally purely cooperative game, because it is a competition at the end of the day between a killer and survivors, is that we really wanted to play on the idea that everyone is an individual within the unit. So in the game, you can be as cooperative you want, and you're rewarded for cooperative actions. But at the same time, at the end of the day, it's all about you. And playing on that difference between cooperation and single-minded pursuit is something that creates a very interesting dynamic.
It's about putting people in impossible situations and watching them try to outwit each other and taunt each other and do horrible things to each other, and you see people really freak out and get excited about it, and it's just amazing.
So another thing that's very interesting in our game is that both sides, the killer and the survivor, both have very different perspectives on the game. So it's asymmetrical in terms of gameplay, where we've got one killer versus 4 survivors, but on top of that, each of them see the world differently. So the killer sees the world in first person. He also gets certain advantages that the survivors don't get. So for him, it's all about power and speed and knowledge of the environment. But for the survivors, it's all about perception, awareness, and agility. So for them, they get a third-person camera. So they can actually look around corners, they can see where the killer is, and they can use it to their advantage in the terrain. Each killer is different, and each killer brings his own unique twist to gameplay. So every time you enter the level, you don't know who you're facing, you don't know what the level is, because it's procedural, and you don't know where your objectives are. So 1 minute, you might be safe in the house, because that's the kind of killer you're facing. The next game, you might be up against a killer who walks through walls. So you're always forced to make decisions every time you enter the level. You're never safe. That's one of our watchwords in the game, is that there's no safe place for survivors.
There are 3 things that makes me very excited about Dead by Daylight. The first thing is that it's built for a mature audience. The second thing is that it's a multiplayer game. It's an asymmetrical multiplayer where a killer chases around 4 survivors while the survivors try to escape. And 3 is the fact that it's built around the idea of Behavior keeping this IP for themselves. Starbreeze' role in this project is the role of a publisher. This is about us trying to help Behavior with our experience of being self-published on Steam, knowing how to engage a community, making them interested in our game. Because this is about them, not about us. And I think that's the cool thing about this partnership and collaboration.
I keep coming back to the idea of creating these emotions, but that's the whole point of our game. It's the thrill, like the heartbeat goes up. And that's what a lot of games that talk about horror, that deal in that space, have, I don't know, indicators on screen or a meter to tell you how much your character is scared. We didn't want that, and we don't need that, because we don't care if your character is scared or not. What we want to know is if the player is scared, if the player is excited. There's no replacement for human nature. There's no replacement for humans. And putting people in these situations, you really see human things come out. And that's the most entertaining ever. Seeing people make horrible decisions because they're freaked out and panicked. Seeing people just get overly cocky and just fail and all the survivors escape. It's beautiful.